Okay, well, let's make a start. So, first of all, welcome to AOC. For those who are not aware, we're Analysis on Chain, and we like to do exactly that. I like to analyze things that's on chain. So we've had a chat before, multiple times actually, in live channels and also DMs and things like that. And I'm interested to hear how it's going so far, because I've sort of been watching your journey to date, and I think before we get to all of that, for the benefit of those people who may watch this and don't know who you are and what you're about, please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Jace. Online, I go by Gosu. Um, Pretty much, I'm a software engineer at Amazon, and I've been doing this for about 7 years now. So I decided to get back into crypto and looking at the current space at the time when I got in or got back in. I didn't see any projects that I actually saw longevity with. Like, I mean, as you can see, we're in the bear market because of that. It popped. I guess the bubble popped and everybody's failing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to come in and make sure that whatever we're doing has longevity and sustainability. And what I mean by that is that there's actual a stream of revenue source and a value proposition. Our value proposition at Waifu TV is, as the name suggests, is a streaming platform for live video content and video on demand, meaning like TV shows or movies, but in the Web3 space. You can kind of, with the little added spice to it, with anime, is how we're starting. So you can think of it like a Web3 Twitch / Crunchyroll. Yeah, I think we're one of the only projects that have actually launched a lot of products pre-launch. Some of those being our decks. It's an incorrect term, but our swap bridge. We have an NFT marketplace where projects need to get approved by us, get vetted, probably KYC'd and the whole shebang for anime projects. But wait, what? Oh, I think people are joining in the wrong one. But anyway, yeah, so that's basically what we're doing and aiming for that. We have a unique tokenomics system right now. The first round or phase one is to get early adopters in that are well familiar with, I guess, crypto and DeFi, where they can earn a token that will be valued down the road as like, hey, I don't want to say value down the road, but once we launch, we're going to have all these different utilizations attached to this token. So there's going to be demand to the token, and early adopters have the advantage of holding that supply and supplying that to the demand, if that makes sense, basic economics. So basically rewarding early adopters.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I put this out on a tweet, I think the other day. There was somebody who tweeted out there, there's not many projects that are, building products before launch. And I replied to that saying, well, I don't think I know of any others besides Waifu, to be honest. I think it's really rare to find projects which launch a bunch of products which are generating a revenue, which you guys already are, right? Through your swap and bridge and things like that. You're already generating revenue, even pre-launch. So
yeah, and we're not promoting it as crazy, right? We're just, having enclosed, because we're in beta testing. So our strategy is right now is just to make sure that our current, believers like ASB and Chain God and Ghost are using the product and making sure that we're bulletproofing it before we do a public launch. And then we're going to retract all of that. We already have the product, and then we're going to do a big marketing push. And I think we're gonna start really picking up sometime around January of like really doing a product launch, marketing, and it's gonna. I mean, some of the other products I'm launching that's hitting the mainstream right now is Gosu tools, and you can see the collabs there that we have. You know, with communities with like 50,000 members. So we have that network. We just are holding back on our marketing, so we don't launch products that are defective like majority of these other DeFi projects.
Yeah, but I think also the key point I was, trying to allude to earlier is that you kind of, although you might have a roadmap, right, which might contain certain, new innovations that come along, you've already done a larger majority of what people would consider being on the roadmap, right? So you're not just promising, you're building up front, and that's been done. So in terms of the products that's on offer, let's just talk a little bit about them first. So I've just stepped into your metaverse, like, a few minutes before this call, and that thing has grown. I was like surprised. I was like, whoa, this is huge now. What's happening there? What's happening in the metaverse, and what's the future sort of vision for that, and what do you anticipate coming from that in the future in terms of revenues and things like that?
So right now, basic fun token utilizations of like skins, emotes, weapons, cars, let's just say it. But we have like the Waifu strip club where you can actually go in, you tip, the character there, and she can go topless if you tip her. And I think, little dumb things like that just to gamify the whole thing. But Waifuverse is not really like a video game. It's like a community, virtual community. And we're going to be hosting our own AMAs in there and doing giveaways of like, once we're done, we're implementing an actual stage there. My little character is going to be on stage. And then after the AMA, we can invoke a function where we can say, all right, battle royale, the last person standing gets the giveaway, things like that, right? So
what, as in people battle each other in there?
Sorry, what?
As in people battle each other after the AMAs, and it's they just got to kick the fuck out of each other. Whoever's
exactly.
left. Right. Cool.
Exactly. So part of the revenue stream there is like, if you want to win majority of these giveaways, pay to win, fuck it, call it for what it is. You pay for better weapons to mop the floor with people. We're actually building the mechanisms now for a machine gun. So after the AMA, people that wanted to go cheap are going to die early, and people that bought the machine gun, so and that so what's your, I guess, ROI there, right? You spend $10, $5, whatever it is, to buy this machine gun, and you have a chance of winning, I don't know, a $500 giveaway because you just mop the floor with everybody in the AMA, right? So little things like that.
I can see things
we're going to be adding.
I can see things like that becoming really popular, right? People are going to go nuts. We've seen it in. I've got two boys, and they both play things like Fortnite, right? And they're always asking for the battle pass and buying things to get better equipment and stuff. Yep. I can very much see that happening in Web3. Use case like that, especially if you're giving away some product or tokens or whatever it is that far exceeds the value of the thing that you purchased, then of course people are going to do it. It's going to be crazy, but that would be hilarious to watch.
That's what I'm saying. So you can be in a safe zone. You can be on top of the stage and be like, I don't want to get murdered. But it's like that, right? And we have NPCs already around the game that it's funny, like you can actually go right now and test it out. Like if you go to the strip club and you get on stage where the girls are dancing, they're gonna, we have the bouncer there that's gonna kick your ass. So
That's come quite some distance since I last seen it. So it's look. I think last time I seen it, it was the little. It looked like a little market square, not market square, like a little town square.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now I've seen
You
cars
know.
in there and billboards and everything. So yeah, it's
Yeah, we're
certainly
gonna
growing.
we actually have a buddy of mine is a civil engineer for like cities and towns like that. So like what would make sense to what buildings to add and where to put billboards and whatnot. So we actually have a legitimate civil engineer that's going to come in and help us scale our waifu verse where it makes sense and we can sell advertisement spots there. Like, hey, um, if you want to advertise in this billboard over here, it's going to be 200 a week or 200 a month, and then we have an average user account that comes in, unique users, 300-400 a week, right? Like, so that's advertisement money, and then now I'm tapping into the waifu platform where our revenue stream is also it's going to be advertisement. It's going to be consumers and viewers coming in, purchasing the token to actually utilize it versus, I don't give a shit. Like Horde, right? Like, there's what are you going to do with Horde? Like, buy
Well, nothing now.
more plots? Nothing now, right? So eventually, and I did wanted to mention this because in our light paper, and ASB brought up a good point. If you can prove that our light paper is a Ponzi nomics, I will personally give you $1,000. Like, it's it's very hard to prove that it's a Ponzi nomics because the only people that gets reward for new people coming into the platform are the revenue partners. But again, harems and everything that we're selling, you're buying it for an actual use versus harem or how people view them as nodes. Um, they're not really Ponzi because the more people that get added into the harem network, the worse it's going to be for a person, right? So you don't get rewarded because new people are joining in the harem network, if that makes sense. Because we already have a locked pool of 5 million tokens that is going to be allocated.
Yeah, and then once that's finished, is that it or
Yep, that's it.
cool?
So, and then you can burn your harems and you get, a guaranteed 40% of what you originally paid for it. So if you ROT, return on token, and then you burn it, you get an extra 40%. Or if you have a different type of perk NFT, it can go up as far as 65% return.
Yeah, I've read through the white paper in some detail, and I really recommend people to go and check it out. Head over to the Waifu Discord. There's a bunch of links in there. It takes you to pitch.com where they've got all of the details there. So go and check them out and get really familiar with some of the tokenomics there. But you touched on something a little earlier, Gosu, that I just want to come back to and just what's really important about projects in my opinion is a little bit about the team. So besides yourself being a fang and engineer, you've got a pretty extensive team, right? You've got different people looking at different things. Just tell us a little bit about the team and what they're bringing to Waifu. If you've got teams working on the metaverse, you've got teams working on certain aspects of the ecosystem. Tell us a little bit more about the team.
Yeah, so I have two devs right now working on the Waifuverse. I got an entire team, that I contracted out. I interviewed working on the actual game that we have. It's kind of like a remake of a successful game already that's going to be downloadable and things like that people can play. So that's a whole other mechanism I haven't really launched or announced. I think I have like 3 devs there. Then I have the DApp itself, when people are going to be purchasing UU tokens and pre-sale tokens, utilizing the swap and bridge. So I have 3 devs there. And then I have let's see. Then I have two devs plus me working on the smart contracts. One of them being from Moon, from Comb Financial. Um, he works with me on the smart contracts, and another person that I know. Let's see. Who?
You've got a pretty
Yeah, and then I
extensive
have
team.
sub team. Yeah, and then we have Ghost. He's our executive that just handles, like, I guess, all the nuances to take the load off, like making links and making things at the front end look good. We have Stinky, which he actually came from Comb. He's with us now. That is the brains behind Utopia, and it's the brains behind, like, how to make a scalable DeFi protocol that makes sense and you're not ruining your protocol, right? So he does that. DeFi, I guess, specialist. I don't want to say expert because no one's a Web3 expert yet, but he's getting there. He knows the mathematics. He's very intelligent that way. And a little alpha that we're actually have Crypto Sensei that's going to come in officially as a member, as, I don't want to say community manager, but a community manager for crypto and DeFi, teaching the new audiences that were going to come in, saying, hey, you can do this rewards vehicle that Waifu TV offers. This is how to do it, right? So taking Stinky's brain and taking my brain and making it into plain English for, the regular retail investor. So a retail participant, like, this is what you want, like education, right? So Crypto Sensei is going to come officially on board with that. Then we are in
As in,
talks with
Crypto Sensei is in Kryptonaires, right?
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so it's a nice little partnership to have because he's got a pretty significant reach as well, right? So, and you need that, right? You need that bridge between technical know-how and the everyday retail investor, because it's for the people who are technically minded. These things seem like sort of everyday sort of concepts, and it seems really simple. But to the typical retail investor, some of those concepts can be really hard to sort of understand if you don't understand like the code or whatever, right? And so having that bridge is really important.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. So and then we have the NFT community that's growing for us, via Gosu tools. I actually, a little alpha here too. We have two big known other community managers and like NFT people, Llamaverse and Gojira, coming in to kind of teach people on the NFT side. So some people that know DeFi and crypto are stupidly confused about NFT trading and why there's volume there. We're going to have that community coming in too. So we are essentially merging those together. Yeah, no, man. I mean, that's essentially it. I am in talks, with myself, and probably changing the reward system, but not. Right now it's like 80-90% solidified that's how it's going to be. The other 10% is, to bring in that buy pressure. Because when I originally started the tokenomics, I was really considering how Gala did it, and this is like a conversation we have privately in Waifu. It's a great system, right? Where, let's just say, hey, I have 5 million tokens to reward, and I reward, 1 million a year, and if you divide that by 365, that's how much you're getting daily. So if only 2 nodes are minted, that gets split between those 2 people. So it creates this buy pressure, and I think Gala did a very good job at that. And this is why they have a quote unquote 10-year runway of token rewards. But yeah, little conversations like that happen.
So essentially, the more people who buy into the harems, for example, the less the rewards are going to be. But that's a good thing because it creates that buy pressure initially. Because if it's just one person that gets in, they get all the rewards, right? If two people get in, they both get sort of 50% of the rewards, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And it removes the whole Ponzi thing. I mean, if shit were to hit the fan, with SEC and audits and reviews and things like that, like, all those Ponzi tokenomics that you see, Ponzinomics, it's just, they're going to get railroaded.
Well, we've seen it. Look at how many times we've seen it, right? In this space, unfortunately.
So when making decisions here, at Waifu, what we do is like we consider legalities and we consider what's actually fair for the. I mean, we've adjusted, right? Like our initial tokenomics that we said, all right, this is it, this is law. People complain like, hey, it doesn't make sense. Like it's a fucking. It looks like shit here, there, whatever. We've adjusted, but we got to consider, long term too, right? We can't. I mean, we set up a lot of limitations, and I feel like I failed to mention this at the Obsidian AMA, but like we set a lot of limitations and constraints early on. So once we reach our LP and revenue goals, we can start loosening these constraints. So, because it only makes sense, right? Like you see a lot of projects that are like, yeah, 1% daily, and then they're like, wait, fuck, we need to raise taxes because we need to create sell pressure, and like, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna piss off a lot of people. Like, hey, this isn't what you had before. I feel like it's less forgiving when you do that, when you start adding constraints versus loosening them.
Well, yeah, and a live example of that, right? I bought into a node project. It's the only one I ever bought into, which was power right at the start of the year. Everything was up, things are starting to go downhill, but right at the start of the year. And I think, I was still in there, although the price went to shit, like it went to basically zero. There's hardly anything there, right? But I was still sort of there, still hanging around, claiming, blah, blah, blah. Then they implemented taxes, and it's like, oh, for God's sake, you've got taxes now, and then, or higher taxes, I should say. And then they started to implement something called power storms or whatever it is. And I've just lost complete interest, right? And I guess that's what you're talking about is if you start off, with everything's sort of relatively easy, and then you start ramping these things up on people, it's going to really annoy them, right? But it sounds like what you're trying to do is the reverse of that, which is you're starting tight, you're keeping everything in line, and then over time, as you're able to look to loosen that out. Have I summarised that all right? Have I missed something out there?
Right. It's easier to train a dog on a leash than not on a leash, right? So, that's the mentality that we're going in with. Like, hey, as we gain our roadmap, our milestones, as we hit our certain milestones, that's a better word for it, and LP and revenue or whatever, we're going to loosen it, right? So like, for example, like I'll tell you right now, like our goal is to get an even match of between Ubu token and BUSD. So if everybody cashes out, they all get the dollar worth, right? So, 10 million to 10 million is an even ratio. So that's essentially what I want to do and get to. I think off the gate, we have, from our initial goal, we have 30% completed. So once we reach certain percentages in a ratio threshold, we're going to loosen them.
So we're talking about liquidity here, right? And within the protocol, initially, the way that the protocol is going to be set up, you're going to have your 30% of the liquidity that you're targeting. And because everything's going to be quite tight, in terms of like
it's going to be very hard to drain.
Yeah, and in theory then, with the buy pressure that we've already spoken about, that liquidity should increase, and then as soon as your liquidity reaches certain milestones that you've sort of preempted, you're going to then start to open things up. But the aim here is to aim for that sort of 10 million in liquidity so that everyone gets the dollar worth. Is that right?
Correct.
Cool. So you've got the harems, which is the nodes. You've got the token, which is the UWU token. By the way, cool name. Made me chuckle when I found out what that meant. Worth googling. What about like the NFTs that you've got? So you've done a pre-sale. Maybe that's the wrong terminology. You've done free mint NFTs, which now you have to pay for, which I believe was an initial sort of fundraise. And then have you got a different perk NFT, or is it the same NFT? Because you've got different tiers, right, on the perk NFTs.
One second, hold on, because I'm stepping out quick. I'm stepping out of my house, so I put you on my phone. Yes. What you got is perk NFTs, which help you, earn more rewards. Because right now it's a 0.21, right? For Harem, you got 0.21 UWU tokens daily. So if you have a perk NFT to of 10%, or if you have 3 perk NFTs of 10%, they get stacked up. And they get stacked up to 25%, which is the most, right? From 20.21, which would mean it's just basic math, 0.21 times 25% plus the 0.21 principal, you're looking at like around 0.26. So those are like the emissions boost. Then you got like sell limit, right? We have a 10% sell limit weekly, but as we hit our certain milestones, we could do 10% daily, right? Like, hey, you can sell 10% of your total wallet account daily. And we can easily change that in the code, and you can see that with our audits that we've done to make sure that all of this is working the way it's supposed to. And I think that's more appealing. I think that's, imagine if Horde made the announcement like, hey, we're reducing taxes, you can earn more Horde. Like, they would have blown the fuck up. But now, instead, what are they doing? Hey, we're adding taxes, so fuck yourself. And it pisses people off, right? So, and that's across the board. That isn't just Horde itself, not to badmouth them, but that's also, other protocols that have done this mistake. And I think that's a lot of, I think what ended up happening there for these people is they didn't plan. They didn't run the math correctly. So we see a lot of protocols now running into this issue. So perk NFTs for claim tax is 30%. But if you have a perk NFT to reduce the tax, you can reduce it down to 5% claim tax. So we're building buy pressure on our perk NFTs to say we're building a reason. What we're doing is we're adding BUSD to our LP. And if we sell out, which I'm pretty sure we will, like we hype up each perk the way that I have a marketing strategy for, we're generating, I think, 11.5 million BUSD. So, which well exceeds over, it well exceeds over our 10 million goal.
Yeah. And with the bear market as it is, I know you said you're going to wait till January. A little bit of me is thinking, is that because of the market that we're in, and we're hoping to see a sort of a turnaround by January? What my my underlying thinking here is that not that many projects actually mint out or sell out at this moment in time. Not many at all. There are some. Don't get me wrong. There are some, but what is your marketing strategy to try and help boost some of these sales of the NFTs, the tokens, and all of that?
Right. I mean, well, you see evidence of it already, right? So we have, an NFT trading tool platform that captures the attention of these NFT collections that have sold out not only in the bull market but have sold out in the bear market. Some NFT collections, even though I talked shit about them in the beginning about how like now they want to add value to their holders early on. So what does that mean? I mean, Valhalla sold out 1 ETH from 0.5 ETH to 1 ETH, and they sold out in minutes. So these are the communities that we're tapping into, and we have the luxury of tapping into via Gosu tools, and then I'm funneling that that traction into Waifu TV. I mean, we tested it out the other day. I was just curious to see. I was like, oh shit, okay. Hey, let me open up the floodgates for whitelist NFTs. And I made a little sketchy. It was a little sketchy for these people that were still confirming, like, is this legit? So, if we want to talk NFT land, right? I opened up the floodgates for like 200 or 100 mints, something like that. I made an announcement in Gosu Tools, and I sold out almost 200 NFTs, and I had to stop it because I was afraid that it was going to mint out because I needed whitelist NFTs to do giveaways or whatever. But it sold out literally within like 2 minutes, and then our floor price increased above mint price. So our floor price right now is like 0.14 when our mint price is like 0.035, which is like 40 bucks. So, we're seeing a demand. And I mean, if you look at our analytics, I mean, I know this more now because, working with all these NFT traders. But if you look at our unique holders, right, we're above 50%, which is very bullish. And then you're looking at the amount listed, which is around 3%. So there's value in holding. It's a bullish indicator for people to jump into Waifu TV NFTs. And this is all my learnings from like literally sitting down with like the best NFT traders in the space. We're talking about NFT Llama that he had like $2,000-$3,000 he started out with, and he raised up to like $750,000 of NFT trading. We have Swareezy, also pretty famous for turning $2,000 into $1.5 million of just profit in NFT trading. And we have Ryan D Crypto and a bunch of other massive NFT traders that are partnered with Gosu Tools. So I'm not even worried. I know a lot of people like, well, there's projects in DeFi, right, that they have this NFT thing going on, and they only sold 200 out of 3,000. So like, I'm not worried that way because I know when my limitations are, and what I do is I seek people that know better than in the current space than I do to get that information and how to sell it. So I'm not in a rush to fuck up my protocol like everybody else is like, get stressed out with when launch. I think you have to have a lot of backbone when you running a DeFi protocol and an NFT project, right? You have to have a strong backbone because you're going to get, people texting you and people messaging you and private, like, when launch, bro, because, I need to buy my fucking house and I need, some revenue coming back. And it sucks listening to that, but I think me being an asshole really helps with not bending. And it's not that I'm just an asshole and don't care. I understand some people, there's some people that have gotten in and this is way early in Waifu TV. You know, I've gotten in and then said, "Man, I really need the money. Like, someone in my family passed away, and I need to, fund the funeral, and I'm not gonna fucking hold their shit or their, you know what I mean." So I just I gave them a refund like that. Like I didn't care, and it wasn't like, well, you better come back. Like if they don't come back, they don't come back. I'm not gonna shove their shit down their throat. Like they're just gonna miss the boat. So,
Well,
I think that's what makes me different, and I think that's why like I'm not opposed to to holding back and making sure that we do this and we execute this the right way. I'm not in a rush to fuck up.
well, when we was talking a little bit earlier about changing a protocol and then adding taxes and what that does to the general sentiment within a community, it tends to sort of fall off of a cliff. Now, what you're going to do, I think, when you're developing a protocol, and this is my own opinion, when you're developing a protocol, the true believers and who look at a protocol and think about its future value, they would much rather see somebody take time to perfect things than to rush something out of the door and for something bad to happen. You won't be forgiven for that, right? If something bad was to happen, but you will be forgiven if everything skyrockets on launch or in years to come. So that is a luxury in itself, and the fact that you yourself are building this with your team of developers, and you're not precious about having a particular hard launch date. I know, like, these guys in the community, in the stage channel now, these guys have been here for a long time. I've been seeing these names for a long time in Waifu, and I don't see any of them moaning at all in your channels, right? And I think, like me, I mean, I have 9 of your NFTs, the whitelist NFTs. I think whether that's smart or not, I don't know, but I got 9 of them. So I'm excited. I love the art as well. In fact, that's something I wanted to touch on. Is the art for the NFTs. Now, you've sneaked out a couple of previews in the chat over in Waifu.
Right.
This art is one of my favorite arts that I've seen in any project. And I guess selfishly, I'd love to know when we're going to see like reveals of some of our NFTs and things like that. I'm not bothered about when you can sell them or anything like that. I just want to see the NFTs, because I have a feeling that these are going to be awesome.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of artists come through since the early days. People that have been with us for a long time know that the art in the beginning wasn't, at least, people are like, oh, this is good enough. But part of me was like, this is not, all right, sure, it's good enough, but it's not good. And I've been really adamant and dying to get something where it's tasteful, it's not lewd. Codebree herself came in when we did an AMA with Node Nation, and she's like, I think you're underselling yourself, and the original art is a little bit, it's not going to bring people that want to invest or want to participate in, because it just looks like shit. So let's just call it for what it was. So literally trial and error. And my own money, I probably spend around $9,000 trying, because I pay people for their time. Like, hey, here, fucking create this art. I had one guy from China, from Shanghai, did anime, but he did like Renaissance anime, and it wasn't bad. But then it was just, I think the style is called chibi. What is it? Chibi, which is like children. And I'm like, well, that's gonna get me arrested by the FBI. Like, it's children. So I had to remove that guy, and then he was being a bitch about it, because this guy is like top-notch 2D animator for anime, but he does chibi and Renaissance, and I was like, that's not the style we want to go for. We had our original artist since before we launched that we were going to be a project, but unfortunately she got sick, extremely sick. We're on the verge of death, so she had just came back around, and I had picked up a different artist. So now they're both working together, and these artists are run by their aliases online because, like, I'll just brag about it here, but these guys have done like mainstream anime. One of them being, I think, like the Chainsaw fucking anime that came out. They're one of the animators there, an artist that draw One Piece. I'm not gonna say they're cheap, but they're willing to work with me. Like the same reason why content streamers are willing to work with me, because of my credentials and my background. But they cannot publicly announce themselves of what they do or whatever. It's just based on the studio that they work at, because there's like a huge stigma going on with legitimate artists and NFTs, right? NFTs is just like, here's my nice PFP, and then like 3 months later, they're only worried about floor price, and the project goes to shit. So they don't want to ruin the artist's reputation from that. So anyway, so they're going to be undoxed, and yeah, it was a lot of trial and error. Like, I was really adamant. You know, some people complained like, "Hey man, this is great. This art is great." I'm like, "No, it's not good enough." Like, even with them, I grilled them. I was like, you know, people like to get by with just the low effort and say that's it. But I push people's limits, and I think we're on a right trajectory. You know, right now we're seeing female only PFPs or whatever, but eventually we're gonna have male as well to cater. We're actually gonna push back on all our products. We're gonna remove them from public access, and we have this whole NFT marketing strategy coming up to get the 20, 30,000 people in our Discord and in our Twitter spaces and things like that, massive NFT community. We have 2D animations. We actually waiting for Neo Films to come out with that animation that they have trailer, but then I have other 2D animators too. That it's going to be pretty interesting in the next month. Well, after December, of how we're going to start the real marketing of Waifu, since we already have majority of all this shit done. Because our only focus right now is just marketing. We don't have to focus on like pushing back release dates because we've already have all this shit done, right? So I think that's the downfall of a lot of projects. They build and market at the same time, and then the hype dies out, right? I think the way that I did it, I started doing that in the early beginning, but then, you know, came to realize that this whole invite competition shit brings in a lot of bots, and that's why I left the old server. So I think now that I have a good runway, and you know, I myself slave away to earn the dollar to move it back into Waifu. That being, you know, Presend, getting hired by Presend, the money I make there, I, you know, reinvested into my own thing.
Sure.
So,
and can I just touch, just to finish up on the art, because I want to ask you this: in the pitch.com, where you can see the you know, the light deck on slide 19, I'm looking at it right now. You've got this art that's shown, and you've got, you know, different feminine sort of characters, one sat on a Treno. Is the art going to be this sort of style, or is this from like a previous artist, and you know, it's going to change slightly? No. Or is that it?
That's all intellectual property. Everything you're seeing there is intellectual property. So that's ours from scratch. If you really look at the fine granular details of the art, you're going to see Waifu TV hinted at the little places like that. The art is going to be of that quality, if not better. So it's not going to be some, I mean, you see this, right, in PXN, you know, their trailers and like their art demos and shit like that was amazing. But then when you look at their PFPs, it was complete dog shit. Azuki, you know, same thing. You know, their demos and everything that they have, like, it was great, but when you look at their PFPs, it's fucking dog shit. About Hala too. The Valhalla artist is the same artist as Azuki. Um, you know, I'm not talking shit about the artist, but he did a great job, right? It's well known, world renowned, but same thing. You know, their audio doesn't match their video, so is what I like to say. So whatever they're promoting, like I want to make sure that when you're looking at the McDonald's menu, your burger looks the exact same way as a picture.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, and it should be that way as well, I feel. So is the because the 5 images that you've got at the bottom of this slide, then they're all different. So is each of the NFTs going to be completely different, and every single one is hand drawn with a different background, different character, different setting, different scene?
Great. So they're going to be PFPs, right? With different traits and attributes. You know, similar NFT gameplay, but this time, you know, as the whitelist NFTs, they're going to be with some utility as well. You know, I might even add, hey, if you own this NFT, you get like a 1% all-in-one type of perk. I don't know. It's limitless. So the art itself, I mean, I'm pretty excited for that. There's value there. It's just the start of it, right? Because, for example, like our anime NFT marketplace, it's to cater to studios and things like that. So you're going to see a lot of different plays with our NFT collection that we're actually going to like turn this into an NFT collection, you know, community as well, along with DeFi, which is why I need someone like Crypto Sensei to step in there. We're going to do weekly AMAs, learn DeFi, learn crypto, because the NFT community knows jack shit about DeFi, right? And then we're going to have Llama, Swarzy, Ryan D. Crypto doing AMAs on how to trade and what to look for in NFTs and teaching people about NFTs, right? So there's this giant clusterfuck of people of learning DeFi, crypto, and NFT, because they're two sides of the same coin, but people are very confused on it. I mean, I was confused as fuck on it, on like how to read it and what's bullish and how to indicate a good NFT project versus the other. Like, it's very confusing. So I don't blame people for. I don't blame. Yeah. So I don't blame people for being confused, right? So I feel like our community is going to offer that value for NFT and DeFi. So they come in, they get the they come in for the NFT collection, and they're going to be like, wait, what the fuck is this? Like, there's actual utility on the NFT. Because I don't think DeFi has that problem, right? I think DeFi has on-chain utility in the sense of earning more money or whatever, right? You buy an NFT and it earns you more of the platform token, if that makes sense. So that's actually alien to the NFT space. And right now, everybody's in the NFT space. They're all hyped up about Node as a service, RPC endpoints. It's like water in the desert. They're like, oh my god, I'll throw $1,000 right now for for a Node RPC endpoint. When for us at DeFi, that's like garbage, right? It's like, oh, Ponzi-nomics, it's crap.
Been there, done that.
It has a bad stigma to it.
Yeah, we've got the T-shirt there, so yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So if I were to bring, I don't want to say the whole Ponzi-nomics thing back, but actually sell an RPC endpoint that's valuable to the NFT space, it's going to even bring more hype for us, more by pressure of the token. And be like, oh, okay, cool, I have the token. What can I do with it? And then like Crypto Sensei or whoever the fuck comes in and starts saying, oh, this is great. You can sell the token and make money. Or you can buy a harem, and like this is all foreign to them and exciting for them to know that they can do more with their NFT.
Right, and well, to be honest, this has got a lot of potential, I feel, and I think by doing, by harnessing both sort of communities, because you have got, unfortunately, this divide between DeFi and NFTs, and then you have some crossover, but it's generally not the case. You either tend to be a DeFi person you could be a DeFi person with some pretty NFTs, and you don't really know what the trends are and that sort of thing. Likewise, as you said, right, you could be deep into the NFTs and not have a clue about DeFi. So having a community where you're bringing both of them together, that could bring in a lot of, brand new people into
a
this
lot of
combined
new
space.
wallets is what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Correct. A lot of new wallets, because here's the thing, and no offense to all my buddies in here, we got the same people. I think Chances, right? Chances came from Gosu Tools in the NFT space, but and he's now learning about. I mean, he's a testimony, right? I don't know, but the same fucking faces that I see here are all in the same, other NFT spaces. Sorry, and all the other DeFi protocols. Like they're in red light, and everybody's talking about, I'm getting railed by the taxes, or this is an amazing gasless chain, or whatever. And then you got them, the same motherfuckers here are in Horde, and it's just recycled wallets, damaged goods. No offense to everybody here, I love you guys, but like, I want to bring new people into DeFi, right? I think it's an amazing product or concept to be able to introduce, right, like a watered down version of stocks and securities, however you want to call it, to people, right? And vice versa, right? Like when I first got into crypto again, like I was like, what the fuck? Like I remember the news, right? Someone sold a fucking digital rock for $12 million or whatever. I was like, what in the actual shit was that? Like, is that like some, Brito art coming out? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, is that Cause coming out with his, bears and shit like that and promote? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. So, even though it didn't make any sense, but there's people making money on it. There's people excited about it, right? I mean, you got fucking Tamagotchi back in the day, or chia pets. You fucking water a plant and the chia pet grass grows on their head. Like, people buy dumb shit, right? So I wanted to know what excited them, and that I didn't know. I'm not going to sit here and fucking start mirroring what I think works, because behind the scenes there's a whole market strategy behind it, right? There's a whole speculation, right? I mean, Ghost knows this because whatever I learned through NFTs, I kind of feed it to him so he can understand it too as well, because I'm foreign to it. I know it, and it's pretty exciting, right? Like how these communities of NFTs, in a bear market, sell the fuck out at a 0.5 ETH, dude. That's like $500-$600 per NFT, and got sold out. But there's a whole strategy behind it. There's a whole movement behind it.
Yeah, and there's some crazy numbers out there in NFTs. There is, really is. D-Gods on Solana. So, wow.
Yep. So for us, at least for Waifu TV, this isn't a Ponzi-nomics where the more you buy, it's going to reward other. It's revenue, right? Like we're selling an art piece that has some utility. It's the same shit when you go on Fortnite. You buy more skins or a treasure box, and then you get a bunch of shit involved in it, right? So that's retail business. We're in our NFT, we have retail business. We're selling an NFT that has amazing art. We're building the hype, and it's going to have some utility into the whole ecosystem, and that's a retail business. That's revenue generation, right? We're selling a product, plain and simple, and our revenue partners are going to benefit from that. So, if you're a revenue partner, and you pitch in for an RP, you're going to get a piece of that pie that we're going to sell on this hype NFT market. So. Yeah, and it's exciting stuff, man. I'm really excited about this merger. happening because I'm seeing I'm seeing projects right left and right. Some that have minted a good amount, some that have minted horribly. DeFi products, right? And people are saying, "Hey, I've been in pre-sale token launch for the past fucking 4 months," and like I'm realizing that going about it, and no offense to you, JP, but we got these the DeFi community is so spread out. Like you have 35 people over here that come and join and listen to the shit that you say. We got 100 people over here. Obsidian had 70, even though they have a big fucking server, but only a fucking 100 people showed up. Less than 100. I've been in AMAs with NFT communities with 300-400 people, and it was promoted literally the same day. So, and I think that's because NFTs are easier to enter and understand. All you need is Coinbase and MetaMask. For DeFi, what do you need? Coinbase, KuCoin, wherever fucking country you're at, MetaMask, and then you're like, well, now I need a swap to this token in order for me to bridge. And then from bridging, I need to do this. And then I need to buy the fucking token of the native token to participate. Like it's the barrier to entry for DeFi it's dumb. It's extremely dumb. Like, I remember when I tried to get into Comb because my buddy was in it. He's like, "Oh, you need to go to Coinbase." I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "I only want to put $500. I don't know this shit." All right, $500, dude. That shit didn't settle until 2 weeks in Coinbase, and then like finally Coinbase settled. All right, I have $500. I bought fucking Ethereum to swap it from Coinbase to my MetaMask. Then I wasn't able to cash out. I had to wait another like week in order for the cash out. I'm like, all right, cool. But that's normal, right? That's for NFT too. Now I'm in MetaMask. Boom, I have my Ethereum. And then he's like, well, now you need to swap to Memecoin to do multi-chain to go into Phantom. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I don't by the time then my $500 investment that I had, it's only gonna be $400 with all the fucking swap fees and shit like this. Like, this is retarded. Like, this is dumb. And then, like, by the time I finally I'm able to buy, a coin on a specific chain because this DeFi protocol can't launch on Ethereum because Ethereum network gas fees are, predatory, then you're fucked. It just didn't make any sense. So it was very frustrating, but I said, all right, let me roll with the punches. Like, that's literally what I got to the point where I was like, fuck it. Let me invest into Comb. Let me invest into Hector DAO. Let me invest into Ohm and all these fucking protocols. Because I literally got to the point I was like, I'm just gonna roll with the punches. I literally in my head I counted my $500 that I went into originally as a loss at that point of how many flips and turns I needed to do in order to get to the desired outcome of the journey. That's why DeFi is failing. So, right, and what I mean by that is also it's not all in one place, right? You need to go to fucking Spooky Swap and all these websites look hacky. They look like they're fucking scams, right? Spooky Swap. Originally, you coming in as an investor, you're like, what the fuck? Why are you? It doesn't make any sense. Then you got Spirit Swap, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I was so sure I was going to get my money stolen. Yeah, I was. And that's the other thing as well. Like, you've got these... it's difficult to get into DeFi. It's difficult to be in tune with what protocols are coming and going and whatnot. But it's also difficult to understand which ones have a huge amount of risk associated to them. Either in terms of the tokenomics or... the potential malicious intent and things like that, right? And
that's another thing, right? That's another thing. Then once you fucking finally buy the coin because your homeboy told you about 3 for 3 and like this is amazing protocol, blah blah blah, then you're like, what the fuck is a tokenomics? It's not like. That's why I need a liaison, right? I need a liaison to speak to the public to simplify this of how do you get more tokens? Like, that was my questions originally. All right, I get more tokens, and then how does the money back it up? Like, Like, this is why people push away from DeFi. So with the NFT community, their barrier to entry is literally Coinbase. You go through the bullshit with Coinbase, and then you go, or not even. You can just go to OpenSea and buy an NFT, on
MoonPay.
on your credit card.
Yeah, you can.
So
the other thing I've noticed as well, even in this, the bear market, I don't know, we can't be far off the bottom, right? But it's a bear market, right? And you can feel that in DeFi. Everywhere you go, it's relatively quiet compared to what it was. And even today, I go into quite a lot of Twitter spaces, NFT Twitter spaces, and just listen, right? Because I like to hear about new innovations, new ideas that's coming through, all of that. And these NFT spaces, they are pumped, like a couple of hundred people at least on the majority that I go. And of course, you get your smaller ones, you get even bigger ones, with a couple of thousand people in. But NFTs, I think when you make that comparison, NFTs versus DeFi, NFTs is winning in terms of volumes and things like that right now. So yeah, it's an interesting comparison you make there.
There's more. I will say this: there's more money to be made in DeFi than there is in NFTs. That's a dead given. There's more money in DeFi than there is in NFTs, because NFTs is like flipping. It's a greater fool theory. You buy a fucking picture of a penguin and hope some other idiot will buy it for higher. So I'm trying to remove that stick. It's very challenging, right? So this, a lot of people, the reason why I went off in this rant about, I don't know if you can hear me because I put you on the speaker in my car.
Yeah, we can hear you.
But so the reason why I went off in this tangent and this rant about, that barrier to entry, like, because I got a lot of people who are like, oh, well, how are you going to compete against ExoFi? How are you going to compete against VaporFi? How are you going to compete against all these other protocols that have their DEX? I'm like, bro, because you guys are just having a massive kumbaya circle jerk, fucking each other over on the same fucking wallets on every other fucking chain. I don't care about your users. Sure, if they come over, great. But my users are the NFT community, are the new wallets that I'm gonna enter via our content streamers, right? Like Dr. Disrespect was streaming today, and in the first 2 minutes, he had 37,000 people in his live stream in the minute that he launched his live stream on YouTube. So if I have that volume of his loyalist followers come onto Waifu TV platform, don't know jack shit about crypto, and I'm guaranteed this is the main pain point of content creators. This is the main pain point on what's it called? The main pain point on content creators and viewers that are like, I just want to go see my content creator stream. I don't give a fuck about harems. I don't care about DeFi or NFTs. I don't give a shit about that. I just want to buy the token, tip my streamer, and interact with my streamer. We have an easy on-ramp token, which is called PUBU, this is alpha, where people can buy PUBU with their debit credit card and just use the PUBU token on platform. That's it. You don't, when you create an account with us at Waifu TV, it creates a wallet for you. You have your own account, and you're using all of this without noticing that you're using crypto. That's my goal. That's my goal and user journey. But then you have, the smarter people in crypto coming in and be like, holy fuck, this is bringing demand in. I want to get a piece of that pie. And this is what I'm selling as a revenue partner. Like, hey, our token, our NFTs isn't on some wishful thinking, soon gonna happen shit. Like, when you read our light paper, you're realizing, like, how do I ROI? Right? Like, How do I ROI? Do we need more people? How are you going to sustain the revenue? Well, motherfucker, if you actually read between the lines, we're going to get content creators, new streamers, NFT market. Like, this is why we have a swap. I don't want these people that don't know jack shit about NFTs to go in and say, well, I need to go to Trader Joe. I need to go to Pancake Swap or fucking Squishy Swap, whatever bullshit name that they have. Right? Because it sounds like a fucking scam. I'm not going to lie to you. Right? I need to go to Uniswap. I need to go here. And you go to different websites and different links. I have it all in one platform. This is why I have a swap. I don't have my own liquidity pool. I'm not going to, maybe in the future, when we build enough demand, right, of users, then we're going to say, all right, hey, we're building our own liquidity we already have volume. Check us out. We have, 40,000 users, right? We have 40,000 users right now on Waifu TV. 20% of them are fucking using the swap. This is the volume that we're generating. It makes sense now. The data is backing up my decision to open up LPs, open up slips, and open up all this bullshit that everybody else tries to pitch and they don't have fucking users, right? So the name of the game is having users or, customers coming on board. For example, I'm going to shit on them too, right? Like, the zombie people, right? They're talking about building a new DEX. Who the fuck is going to be their customers? The same people that invested. So it doesn't make sense. What's their strategy on bringing new people to actually use the DEX? For example, Uniswap, what do? They are the dominant force of that chain to swap your tokens, right? Same shit. Binance, who do you go to? Pancake Swap. You're not going to compete against Pancake Swap, bro. Like, it doesn't make any fucking logical sense.
Well, we see this with, count how many projects have launched their own DEXs, and I'm keen not to stay on this topic too long, because I do feel as though lots of projects launching their own DEXs. For the first few, I guess you may have made a bit of volume, a bit of revenue, but sooner or later, every project, and we're seeing it now, every project's creating a DEX, and so what's that doing? It's watering down the volume, but predominantly, it's really just giving access to a DEX of the people that's already in the protocol, because, like you said, you've got these huge exchanges out there and DEXs and things like that, which are these are the...
I've ran the math. You need a minimum to be healthy, $10 million worth of assets in order to have a maybe competitive against the dominating DEX on the chain. Like, and this is across Avalanche, Phantom, Matic, ETH, and BSC. Like, I'm telling you, it's stupid. So what are we doing at Waifu Swap? I don't want to call it we've aggregated. Let's say if you're on the Matic network and you want to swap, we don't have our own LPs. We're using the dominant forces LP there, right? We're making it all in one. If you want to switch to BSC, we're using Pancake Swap's LP under the hood. If you're using Ethereum, we're using Uniswap under the hood, right? So we're building traction and volume, making it easy for who? For NFT community members and for viewers, fans of like Dr. Disrespect that don't know shit. I don't want them to go to Uniswap and promote. Oh, well, if you want to swap tokens, let me teach you. You need to go to Uniswap. No, motherfucker. You come to Waifu Swap, just a click of a tab, and you're right on the same website, and you're right there in Waifu Swap. So that's my value prop on why I have a Waifu Swap and Waifu Bridge. Hey, you need a bridge tokens. Cool, makes sense. And then I got a question. Hey, I feel like you're spreading yourself too thin. hold on, because I'm gonna get disconnected. There you go. Is, hey, you're spread too thin. I only take on projects, for example, pre-send. Why the fuck did I take on pre-send? Because a lot of people are asking me, like, well, you're doing Waifu, you're doing a lot of shit, Gosu tools. Like, I don't take on anything that doesn't benefit Waifu. What do I mean by that? Well, pre-send, what is their value prop before I got in? To make sure that whatever you're exchanging actually gets received at the desired destination. Who the fuck will benefit from that? The people that I'm bringing in. So why the fuck did I join pre-send? For that exact same fucking reason. So to tell them, hey, it's secured. Pre-send is under the hood of Waifu, of Swap, of Dex, of Bridge, whatever the fuck. Like, you want to send it to your contact streamer and you want to verify that you're tipping the correct streamer. Like, Presend's gonna do that. And who's a co-founder of Presend? Me. Who's the one building the tech? Me. And I got, a great team over there too. I got Larry and I got Drew. But why the fuck did I get Presend? Well, we own 10% of it. So whatever Presend's guaranteed generating revenue, it's going to come back to us. And our RPs are going to benefit from that too. So that's why I took on Presend. Like, we got these new wallets. I mean, I remember, dude, I lost fucking $800. I sent $300 to myself on Avalanche USDC because Coinbase didn't specify the network, and I was mad confused. Like yesterday, I was trying to talk to one of my engineers, and he's like, "Why the fuck are there so many networks? What the hell?" Like, he was confused because he's not a Web3 engineer, right? So I'm like, it's just like, bro, just put it on Vaseline and just take it as a face value. You just accept that multi networks. But don't you think people that are less techie are going to have these questions?
It's guaranteed. Yeah, I've lost $400 by sending Phantom USDC over to Coinbase, right? And it hurts. There's nothing you can do about it. Once it's gone, it's gone. And so, for DeFi to really take off, you really need to have the systems, the ecosystems that are in place really need to be super simple. And almost foolproof, right? And what you're talking about, with the content generators coming into Waifu, and a click of a button, they're bought into the token, or they're donating to their favorite content streamers. It all needs to be a click of a button, and what that means is, well, behind that, to make that as simple as it is, you've got to have the tech there to be able to enable that. And right now, today, we don't have that. Right, generally, right.
Nope.
So,
nope.
In order to get that next level of the next, let's say, generation of people involved, you mentioned it earlier. They're got to be using blockchain without them realizing that they're using blockchain, and I've been saying that for months and months and months. That's when this thing is really going to take off. When people click a button, they've donated something to their favorite content creator, and they simply do not know that they've used blockchain. That's how this thing is really going to take off, and that's what's getting me excited about DeFi in general. And it's going to be huge. It is going to be huge. But to get there, you've got to have these innovations that individually, might. It's going to initially start off with a small level of innovation, right? But collectively, when you start adding all those innovations up together, you're going to have a really simple, really powerful ecosystem. You mentioned Utopia earlier, right? That's another piece of technology. If you've not seen it, I recommend going to our YouTube channel and checking out that Utopia video. It's another.
Yeah, we got the brains behind Utopia in the audience.
Yeah, and it's another step towards simplicity, but in order to get to simplicity, you've got to have the technology, which unfortunately is complex, behind the scenes doing it. So it sounds great for me. And I guess, just to finish up here, Gosu, what you've mentioned about the marketing in January. What's left for Waifu? Have you got anything else left to launch? Of what's coming after marketing? Have you got a future roadmap? What's that looking like?
Yeah. So what we're developing and we have to finalize to make the mathematical sense, right? So we're not fucking up and then saying we need to redact this, we need to retract this. Is view to earn and interact to earn model for people that are viewers, regular people watching their favorite content creators and saying, "Hey, you have been rewarded X amount of PO platform." They're like, "Oh shit, I got rewarded now. I can use it." Either they use it or to tip their streamers and buy skins and use the actual on platform token within the ecosystem, and if you want to cash it out, you'll be taxed. So to go from off chain on platform kind of thing to on.
It sounds like we may have lost him. Well, until he comes back, I was just thinking just then, right, in Fortnite, my children play it, and they go to this end of season sort of event, which is in the game, and it's kind of like a stage setting where you go and you watch the event taking place, right? And you can go sit there with your friends and all sorts. Well, imagine that sort of context, but in the Waifu metaverse. And so you've got these huge content streamers who are there and have already got these huge followings. They stream through Waifu, and at the same time they can use the Waifu verse, the metaverse, to go and interact with other people, to go and watch the shows, the streaming content, and all of that. So just get Gosu back up here. So Gosu, I was just saying about before you rugged there, I was just saying about again, just referring back to Fortnite, how my boys at the end of the season, they get together with their friends and they go in Fortnite to go and watch like the end of season sort of extravaganza, right? The end of season event is called an event. So they're sat there in this game and they're all watching it together and like they're having this amazing time. And I've just sort of relayed that back in my mind through these content streamers using the metaverse that you've got there as well. With potentially the streamers going into the Waifu verse, being able to stream their content in the Waifu verse, and all their followers being in there and listening to it in there, and you've got your skin sales on top of that. There's so much potential here. It's unreal, in my opinion.
Right. We want to call it for what it is, potential, right? For now.
Yeah.
But we'll get to a place where we're gonna really start, making some waves and traction. Essentially, what happens is, you got somebody that doesn't know jack shit about crypto, right? Let's talk about this customer. He onboards, he pays the debit card like he would buy bits, like he would at Twitch, but he gets, when he creates an account, so this is a user journey. He creates an account, he automatically gets a wallet, an EVM wallet that accepts, any token. It would be like a regular, MetaMask wallet, but it would be on platform. I don't want to compete against MetaMask or any of this other shit, or don't want to do that. So it's on platform wallet. And they're like, cool, I have my wallet, but it doesn't look like crypto, right? It doesn't feel like you're in crypto. But then you want to buy, I want to buy PUBU. Okay, I'm going to purchase PUBU on platform tokens with the PUBU. Cool. You purchase it. Now it mints it for you in the back end, right? It mints it for you when you use, your debit credit card. I want to buy 100 PUBUs. You pay with your credit card, debit card, and then it mints it for you inside your wallet. And then that token is centralized. Let's just get technical with it, right? Because you're not going to be able to create your own random LP on it and trade it and sell it on a DEX. You can't sell it. The only thing you can do is use it or convert it to an on-chain token, which is UBU. So now what ends up happening is you're a content streamer, you just bought 100 PUU, you're on the platform and you're watching your favorite content streamer. This is like the 100th time you've done it. You've watched 200 hours. So we keep a counter, or we keep tabs on your interactions on the platform, on who you're watching, how do you get rewarded, what ads did you interact with, what surveys, some advertisers want, hey, can your users give us a survey? So you get paid for surveys, things like that, of that nature. And then you get rewarded in PUU. Interact and view to earn. So if you watched 100 hours, we haven't done the calculations yet, the granular details of things. Not that we haven't done it, but we're running it now just to see what makes sense. You get rewarded in that. And that's how you get more PUU. But if you want to convert that from PUU to UU, you're going to be taxed on that. But that's down the road. Right now, we're using PUU as a pre-sale. So yeah, I think on December, for anybody in here, we're going to launch our pre-sale on the 5th, which is at a 0.8. We're going to stabilize it at $1, so you get a 0.2 return there. If you do dump it for whatever reason, fuck you as well. But yeah, so but that's essentially it, right? Like that's the whole ecosystem that I want to do, right? Like I really emphasize this, and we have a Discord chat called the War Room where we have Ghost and Stinky and other partners in there or whatever, and we're literally discussing like how are people going to use the token? What's their token utilization? How are we going to create demand for this token? So we're creating demands by, like what you said, emotes, dances, fucking skins, tipping strippers at the waifu verse, like all of this sorts of things, right? So we're creating a lot of utilization, like a real currency, right? You can buy NFTs with it in our NFT place. I actually do. We're actually discussing with one of our content streamers. She's a little bit more lewd. Look her up at your own discretion. Violet Mayers, where you can buy like her merch with ooh, and she's like, I'll accept a cryptocurrency. That sounds exciting. She has no idea what the fuck ooh is or cryptocurrencies do, but she's like, I'm down to give away some merch for some ooh. So we're gonna have a shop center in there as well. That's just something that I haven't constructed fully yet, but it's an idea that's been floating. I think we can take some questions from the audience, like chances, and then we can close out because back to
no problem. I have invited Chances up. He's got his hand up. I've accepted that. Welcome, Chances. How are you doing?
Well, so I was just wondering, you just mentioned the pre-sale for the UU, and I was wondering how that's going to be purchasable. Is that going to be an ETH, finance token? How are we going to be able to take advantage of that?
Yeah, so if you go to waifu.tv, you're going to see, it's going to revert it, it's going to cancel it, but it's going to be in BUSD. The reason why we're accepting BUSD only is because that's our liquidity pair. So this helps the protocol, right? It's kind of like, I guess, I don't want to use legal financial terms, but it's kind of our raising round in a way, where we're building more LP for what we have. And all the pre-sale token stuff, 100% of it is going to go to building liquidity for our token. So it's going to be in BUSD. If you want to swap or do anything, you're invited to use our swap to perfect that. Because the more we perfect it, the more we catch bugs early, the better it's going to be for us when we start really producing volume.
It sounds wonderful. You really got it all figured out. Can't wait to see it come through. It's going to be great.
I mean, chances are you're pretty much successful. You came from Gosu Tools, right?
I did Gosu Tools and Llamaverse kind of area.
Right. So knowing this, the NFT market. I mean, given the fact that I'm producing, I guess. Given the fact that I'm producing all of their, I don't want to say value because that sounds fucking, rigged, but giving the fact that we have all these different types of protocols and different types of tools and things like that outside of Gosu tools, like, how do you think the NFT market would react?
I mean, I'm gonna love it. I ended up having to spend more on gas trying to bridge ETH from Ether to Polygon, and then it got stuck, and it ended up taking like 3 days, and they almost wanted to charge me like $400 in gas to get it to get the bridge to actually work. So having that on Waifu TV, having it all in-house, being able to use what I already have, the UU token and or whatever cryptocurrency I'm, switching or bridging or swapping, like, is going to be way better, because I myself, I don't like using Pancake Swap or Uniswap, any of those. Really, the only swapping I use is with Phantom when I'm switching Sol for USDC.
Yep.
So
Right.
I think,
Solana is difficult.
I think, yeah. Well, and I just think having it all right there, in front of your face, on the same page, you can go to the same trustworthy person to ask your questions. If you're kind of confused about something, you can pop into the channel that's got all the quick links, and I think it'll be really great. I can't really speak for everyone else just because I'm not them, but I wouldn't see why they wouldn't want to take to it.
Right. Exactly. There you go. So I remember that was a pain point for me, that I was like, how can I fix this problem? So
Well, super excited. I'm gonna jump off a stage, let somebody else up. I appreciate you.
no, I appreciate you, man.